All good. Hey, welcome back to Midas Ladder Live. My guest in this segment is Tim Froude. He's the CEO of Sokoman Iron Corp, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol SIC. Tim, welcome back.
Glad to be back, James.
Tim, the project that you've launched a great drill program on now, and has, I guess you're getting ready to launch phase 2, yes. And you've had some tremendous results. The criticism that I've been receiving as a result of my enthusiastic accumulation of your stock at higher levels is that,
Don't put any pressure on me.
No, well, exactly. Yeah. But a lot of people were, they're saying, wow, what's wrong with this company? I mean, the stock's fallen. And I said, there's nothing wrong with the company. It's doing exactly what mining companies do after a drill program that's had some success. The short-term scalpers have come in and made their money, and now they're leaving to find wherever the next sexy beast is. So that all being said, tell me, I was also sort of disappointed in the reaction of the ultimate press release, because it didn't have an effect at all, and anybody who would have juxtaposed that against the press releases previously and from the previous results of Altius would understand that, hey, this is kind of a deposit that is starting to hang together in a lot of ways, with lots of sort of discrete little opportunities within it. And I guess that's why our venerable old friend down the street, Mr. Eric Sprott, was excited enough to invest his own money in the deal and continues to be a supporting shareholder.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, the market was probably expecting more of hole 1, and I guess if that's the criticism, you should never drill your best hole first, I guess, because it's always a tough act to follow. But, when we put that program together, I mean, we had a much smaller treasury, James, and, I had a plan. I had to test 3 particular, there were 3 objectives I wanted to, see through with the first phase. One was to put 1 hole, and 1 hole only, into the eastern trend. The rest were to go towards the western trend, where there were numerous not unexplained, but open-ended intercepts and room actually to expand on the results of the previous operator. So so we stuck to the plan. I mean, I didn't know what was eventually going to happen in the following weeks in terms of money's coming in and stuff, but no, I mean, now that we're ready to go to phase 2, obviously focus, priority 1 is going back to the area of around hole 1801 for sure.
So the eastern zone that yielded the 12 meters of 44.96 grams per ton is going to be the principal focus of the next drill program starting in the first week of October.
That's correct. Yeah, we have permits for 1 drill right now, and because we expanded the program, it required a juggling of the permitting process. So we're currently waiting for the permits for the 2nd rig, but we're on schedule to put the 1st rig on site and testing around hole 1801 sometime in very early October for sure.
Sure. So how many holes are you going to drill in phase 2?
Well, I've budgeted for 10,000 meters, and I guess the ultimate number of holes will obviously depend on the depth and number of holes. And I mean, if we continue with success in the 1801 area, I mean, we're just going to continue to drill holes there, right? So the exact number of holes is going to be difficult to predict, but I would suspect we're going to be drilling at least 40 or 50 holes, in total, right? So that's for the program, right?
Sure. The other properties that you have in the portfolio are no slouches either, which I was pleased to learn yesterday when I was at the presentation.
Well, yeah, I'm particularly fond of Clark's Brook, which is actually, if you go immediately to the right or east of this photograph, you'll about 20 miles distant is our Clark's Brook project, which we drilled for the first time. Not just we, but the first holes drilled on the property were actually in the fall of 2017. And basically we were following up on some historical float, and there was very poor outcrop again. Yeah, that's the one. You see the cluster of large boulders there. Well, they ran up to 24 grams per ton, right? But it was never drilled. And we decided to take that project on in lieu of trenching on some of our earlier stage projects, because we figured we get a bigger bang for our buck by drilling a hole rather than digging a trench, sort of thing. And we drilled 7 holes, and all holes hit mineralization. And I just want to draw your attention to the northernmost hole there, which has the most widespread mineralization. Overall, the grades are modest, a gram over 13 meters. But we do get up we actually got VG in that hole as well, over a very narrow interval. But it's a different system, James, than the Moosehead stuff. in my opinion, we're actually looking at the top of an epithermal type system here.
Okay.
Moosehead would be more of an orogenic, deeper seated sort of roots to that system. I think what we're looking at here is the top of an epithermal system, and I wouldn't be surprised if we step back and drill the hole down through the blue colored areas there. Mm-hmm. Those are magnetic low targets, and if you look, most, if not all, of our drill intersections are actually on or within, or very in close proximity to the mag low. I like our chances here of just drilling down into the system.
Sure. To
see what's at depth, because if we're looking at the top of a gold mineralized epithermal system, I'd like to think that at some reasonable depth, we could be getting down into potentially bonanza grades, or certainly higher grades, right?
Wow.
And as well, down at the bottom of the slide there, you can see where that blue color wraps around there.
Yeah.
That's probably a fold, and fold hinges are very good places, for thickening and improving grades of mineralization. So, it won't be a distraction for us, but
right.
It's certainly a project that we could, certainly,
Are you going to drill some at phase 2 in here?
Well, if Moosehead allows us,
okay,
right? Because it's still our control. It's still our flagship property.
How
right?
far is this from Moosehead?
Well, in a straight line, it's about 30 kilometers, about 20 miles. But to drive to it, it's probably an hour's drive. But again, on very well-used roads, you can park a pickup truck, within 100 meters of these collars. So I mean, again, not a difficult project to access or work at all.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
And then you've got also the Iron Horse project. This was actually the namesake of the company originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we started life as a gold company, and then when the iron ore market took off 6 or 7 years ago, we decided to take a shot, and we actually acquired a property in an underexplored part of the trough, because there wasn't any room left in the established parts, where the producing mines are in Labrador. Mm-hmm. So we got this project and drilled. Actually, these are the only holes drilled on in this area, and we were quite pleased to discover, very significant mineralization, including up to 354 meters of just about 28%. Now it's obviously taconite; it's not the DSO or the jewel of the iron ore business, but there's probably a very significant tonnage of iron ore here that just needs to be drilled off, and it's in good standing. It's not costing us anything to hold it, and as well, areas to the south of where we've drilled for iron ore, we're also seeing interesting levels of uranium and rare earth metals as well. So one of these projects where you pick a commodity sort of thing.
Sure, an embarrassment of riches. I like those ones.
But anyway, it's like I said, it's still in our portfolio, and well, if we can monetize it or move it at some point,
sure,
we certainly will.
Okay, so then the focus remains the gold project at Moosehead.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, and so with the drill program starting in October, first results probably by the beginning of November-ish?
That might be a bit soon, right?
Okay.
It all depends. I mean, it's always hard to predict these things, and I guess a lot of it will depend on probably what we get as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we end up with a bunch of holes like 1801, I mean, I don't think anyone would be very happy if we sat on those for a while. So we'll probably release results periodically, but just the timetable might be difficult to pin down right now.
Sure. All right, well, that's a great update, Tim. We're going to continue to follow with interest. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me again, James.